In this episode, we'll discover that follow one hand through one stroke in a sweep boat, and you'll discover it's been doing two jobs the whole time, not one. Here's the insight, borrowed from coach Al Morrow. Think of your outside hand as a second oarlock. The real oarlock, of course, is a fixed pivot that the oar rotates around, but your outside hand does the same job, controlling the handle from the moment the blade enters the water to the moment it leaves.
Feel the grip of the oar handle, smooth yet firm in your hands. Taste the salt of your own sweat and the occasional splash of water. It's all part of the journey. Welcome to another episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. Each week, our host, Masters rowing coach Rebecca Caro, dives deep into the world of Masters rowing. Whether you're on the water or in the gym, join us to become a faster master. Let's go rowing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be working through a single stroke in a sweep boat. And I want to visualize your outside hand from the catch to the recovery and back to the catch. You might think it's just along for the ride, quietly holding the handle while your big muscles are doing the work. But if you track it closely, you'll find it's never idle. It is setting the height of the handle, it's holding the force on the face of the spoon, and it's running the rhythm all at once. Now, that first job, setting the height, is obviously very important. The end of the oar handle must sweep through the longest arc because it's the end and it's pivoting around the oarlock. And your outside hand then gives you control over the catch and the finish timing. Obviously, your real oarlock is a fixed point that the oar rotates around, but your outside hand does the same job for the sweep oar handle. Let me explain. When you put the oar in the water, during the power phase, it doesn't move very much. It might move maybe 30 centimeters, but the boat is being levered past the tip of the blade. And so the pivot point from the end of your spoon is your handle. And that is what the second oarlock concept is, that it is controlling as the boat moves past the oar, that if you imagine the oar just locked into the water, the outside arm controls and pushes the whole oar past that point where the oar spoon is under the water. So from the moment your oar enters the water, your outside hand's already at work. It has timed the placement, the moment that the oar spoon has gone under the water, and it's also been finding the right depth for the oar spoon. Now, this is an active placement. I'm personally not a fan of let gravity drop it into the water. You have to be proactive to make the handle move in order to get it in the water before your slide stops at the change of direction. And so this proactive placement means that your outside hand is moving further than your slide moves on the recovery. So it has to find the right timing and the right height so that the oar goes the correct depth. If you try and place the catch with your inside hand, you'll find it won't give you the same finesse, the same subtlety of timing and the vertical lift compared with the outside hand. And the reason is clear, because your inside hand makes you clumsy because it's closer to the oarlock, to the pivot point. And so this is just because of the distance, you can be more subtle. So with your outside hand, lifting 3 centimeters gives you good control over the tip of the blade. If you tried to lift that same height with your inside hand, it wouldn't be 3 centimeters. It would maybe be 1.5. And so the movement's much smaller and you need to be much more in control. But because it's closer to the pivot point and you've also got your outside hand to control, it doesn't make for such skillful movements. Now, through the drive, your outside hand becomes this fixed pivot. And the middle knuckles should be pointing forwards towards the stern. And that single position helps keep your wrist flat, because if your knuckles are pointing up to the sky, you're likely not actually holding the oar correctly, and your wrist may be flat, but you probably haven't actually got full control over the handle. So your outside hand is not only holding the line of height, it's also connecting the handle through the kinetic chain to your feet. So it's obviously going down your arm, down your torso, down your legs to your feet. Have a look at video of sweep rowers and see who hasn't got their outside hand fingers and thumb wrapped around the handle. If they've got them, they look very elegant and sort of in their fingertips, or their thumb is dangling loose. You can be reasonably sure that they're actually using their inside hand to control the handle, not their outside hand. Now, as you come to 90 degrees square off in the power phase, your very last bit of the drive with your outside hand, it's quite hard to keep your forearm at 90 degrees to the handle. Try not to let your elbow go out to the side, because then your knuckles are not pointing towards the stern. But because the arc that the oar handle's coming through creates an increasingly obtuse angle with your forearm, let your elbow go along your side ribs and point it at the person sitting behind you. However, from the 90-degree position to the finish extraction, your inside hand actually has a lot of more control and power, just because of the angle of the oar handle to the oarlock. And you'll find that you can actually pull quite hard in your inside hand, because your inside arm will be at that 90-degree angle to the oar handle. When we get to the finish, the same hand that set the height now controls how the blade leaves the water and sets the rhythm for the recovery. Use the movement of timing the oar extraction and the start of the recovery to set the rhythm for the stroke and for your body to follow. Sitting still at the finish, leaning backwards, while letting your outside hand only move the handle down. So control the weight in the hand, pushing down on the handle, and approximately speed into the body is equal to speed out from the body. So if you're rating rate 18, your handle will come in and out at an 18 rate. If you're rating 30, it'll come in and out correspondingly quicker, because you're at a higher stroke rate. Now, only when your arm is straight do you move your shoulders to rock the body forward. And that's where the rhythm comes from. It's the very last bit of the power phase where that inside hand is doing a lot of the work, and then the outside hand controls the extraction and times the movement of the handle away from you. Keep those knuckles forward, and remember 90 degrees approximately from your forearm to the handle. So that starts at the catch with your outside hand and transfers from 90 degrees square off to your inside arm, being the 90 degrees forearm to the handle. Keep the height steady throughout. So on the recovery, your blade shaft should be roughly parallel to the water surface and at the same height as everyone else's blade shaft. And on the power phase, your spoon depth should be consistent throughout. You don't want it corrugating up and down, like going too deep, then coming up to the surface, and then maybe washing out at the finish. That's just all control in the outside hand. So one hand, your outside hand, one stroke. It's got 4 jobs: height at the catch, pivot through the drive, a clean release at the finish, and rhythm on the recovery. So your outside hand isn't a passive passenger. Think of it like this second oarlock, controlling the height and the rhythm and the power as you lever the boat past the point at which you've put the oar into the water. Knuckles forward, and check your hand is gripping the handle enough so that you can effect control with the outside hand and you're not dominating with your inside hand. Till next time, bye-bye.
We are part of the RowingChat podcast network. please tell your fellow rowers about the show. If you've learned just one helpful thing from today's episode, please consider supporting the show for as little as $1 per month by visiting fastermastersrowing.com/podcast.